Well, very good morning, guys. Kranti, stop your video. Okay. So last day, we have been learning about the data types in the language, right? I just been explaining you how to write a program. The first day, second day, I just been taught you about various various ways of writing the code, importing the namespace, importing a class, how to simplify the code, I said you. And finally, I just started the discussion about data types in your language. Okay, coming to the data types in your language, I just listed you 17 data types, which comes under different categories like integer types, decimal types, Boolean type, date time. Next, we have date time, unique identifier, character, base type. I explained about the sizes and all. And finally, we just been concluded here. What is it? String and object are variable and types. They don't have any fixed size. But when you come to remaining 15, the remaining 15 are fixed length types. They have a size. They have a size. But string and object are variable length types. They don't have any size at all. There is no size defined for string and object. Okay, so this is where we stopped it in the previous class about the data types. Okay, guys, all of you, I explained about the first and the third columns, right? I did not talk about the second and the fourth column. First column, I just said you about the, and third column, I said you the sizes or the capacities of the things. Did not give you any explanation about the second and the fourth columns. Okay, guys, is my voice breaking? Is my voice breaking, guys? Who is this? I don't have the name. What is this here? What is the junk? Enter your name there first. How can I address you if you don't have a name there? Disconnect and connect again. If you are not, if you are facing a problem with the voice, disconnect and connect again. Okay, fine. So I just been listed you all the data types that are available for you over there. It's totally 17 data types in this 15 are fixed length types and 2 are variable length types. Okay, this is what I explained to you in the previous session. Fine, well and good. Yes, today we'll talk about this. What you know? Actually, all these are predefined. All these are predefined data types. All these are predefined data types. Predefined in the sense, yes, guys. They are defined in the libraries of your language. Every language has libraries now. Same way, in the libraries of the language, all these are predefined. Are you clear what I said here? All these data types are predefined. Where are they predefined? They are predefined inside the libraries of your language. So within the libraries of the language, these data types are all predefined. Okay? Now, actually, C# language is designed identical to C language. C# language is designed identical to C language. So basically, if you just understand about C#, this language is very, very similar or identical to the C language actually. Because it is identical or similar to the C language, the data type names in the language also will be identical to C. Int, float, char, all these are C language names only now. All the names what we are discussing are identical to C. But the names what we are having here, int, float, char and all, these are not the actual names of the data types. These are not the actual names of the data types. What do you mean by that? Means the actual names of the data types that are defined in the libraries are different. For example, you have int as a data type. The actual name is not int, guys. The original name is int 32. What is system? System is a namespace we talked about in the last class. All these are defined under one namespace actually. The original name of the int is int 32. What is 32? 32 bit var. 32 bit means 4 byte. Long is 64 into 64. 64 bit 8 bytes. Short is int 16, 2 bytes. Did you understand me? These are the actual names: byte, int16, int32, int64, s byte, uint16, uint32, uint64. These are the original names. But these names are something new for the people. Why? I said, the language is designed identical to C language. So what did they do? Actually, these are the names of the data types in the libraries, but without using these names, they given us an option to use a simple shortcuts like this. When I use int in my code, compiler will convert that into int32. Are you clear? Which one is easy for you? Int or system.int32? So you use int only. Compiler will convert into system.int32. These are the original names. What you are seeing in the second column are the original names of the data types. Are you clear or not? See, point is there. What is the original name? See, single. Double is double only. Decimal is decimal only. Dual, boolean. We don't have anything called date time in C language at all. Yes or not? That's why in C sharp and both names are date time only. No difference. See? Are you clear? No difference. And here also GOID. This is also not doing C language. Array, what is new? Have the same name. Elias name or the original names are same. But what is old? What did they do? They given the old names for you for usage or for consumption and said you use old names only. I will convert or translate them into new names. Is it clear, all of you? Yes or not? And don't forget one thing. If you recollect, I explained you this concept when I started programming in the last week. What's it? All the data types are predefined. Data types are not born. Int is not born. Float is not born. In C language also, they are not born. They are predefined. Where they are defined? They are defined in the libraries of your language. In this process, some are defined as structures and some are defined as classes. Do you remember? Int in C language is a predefined structure. Int in C language is a predefined structure. Float in C language is a predefined structure. So like this. So same way here also, they're defined either in the form of structures or classes. Okay, I'll tell you a simple thing. All fixed length types, total 17 data types I showed you. In that 15 are fixed length types I said you. What are the 15? The 8 integer types, 3 decimal types, 1 boolean type, date type, unique identifier, and char. These 15 are fixed length types. Okay, all these fixed length types are structures. All these fixed length types are structures. 2 are variable length types. What are the 2? String and object. These 2 are classes. String and object are classes. Are you clear? Am I audible now? Do you understand? 15 are variable length types. All the 15 are fixed length types. All fixed length types are structures. 2 are variable length types. 2 variable length types are classes. They're all in the libraries of the language. We are consuming them. They are not born like you and me. They are predefined. Are you clear? I want to show you some few important points to understand. Have a look. Guys, have a look, all of you. Read the first point. All the above types are known as primitive or predefined types. That is, they are defined on the libraries of a language which can be consumed from anywhere. Is the point clear? They are all predefined. Where they are defined? In the libraries. So you can consume them from anywhere now. Second point. All C# types after compilation of the source code gets converted into CIL types. What are CIL types? That only I explained to you guys These are C sharp types. So always the original name, this is the original name. You declare int. What will happen? Converted into system dot into 32. Okay, that's what I said to you. Read again carefully. All C sharp types after compilation of source code get converted into CL types. And CL format, these types are either classes or structures defined under the system namespace. Where are they defined? They are defined under the system namespace. And clearly listen, string and object types are classes, whereas rest of the other 15 types are structures. Already clarified you. String and object are classes. Rest of all are structures. Okay, third point. I explained you this in the last class only. Read that, all of you. I explained that in the last class. And Mr. Chaitanya, I already said you, from Monday onwards, I won't provide any videos. Don't ask again and again. If you are late, that is your mistake. I can't help you. If you have any doubts, go and ask your admin. Don't ask me. Only talk to me about technical doubts. I want recordings, sir. I want videos, sir. Go and ask your admin. I already clarified this for you very clearly in the last class. From Monday onwards, don't ask me. I cannot provide you any videos. I promised to give until Friday. Until Friday, I posted the videos in the WhatsApp group to you. And I posted the videos in the Google Classroom also. Both the two places I posted here. From today onwards, if you want videos, don't ask me. Go and ask your admins. Yeah, read that. Short, int, long, and s byte types can store signed integers, means positive or negative. Whereas u short, uint, ulong, and byte types can store unsigned integer, means pure positive values. I already explained this in the last class, remember? Yes or not? Here I very clearly shown you also. See, here I started with 0. If I start with 0 means signed, unsigned, unsigned. Here I started with minus. So it is signed. It's very clear there. Okay now? Fine. Next. Just a second. I did not talk more about it, but I given a rough idea for you about this one. I did not talk more, but I given a rough idea about this GUID. Remember, GUID is a type used for storing unique identifier values that are loaded from SQL Server database. This is a 32-byte alpha numeric string. Remember, that is a alpha numeric string actually. Alpha numeric combination it is. Holding a, remember I said it will generate a value. The value what is generated by this cannot be duplicated anywhere in the world. That's what I said you. Global unique identifier. Okay, and the format of the value is 32. 8, 5, 0. What is 32 guys? First 8 digits, sorry, 8 characters. Next 4, next 4, next 4. And the last 12. Total 32. Okay now? Next. I explained you this also in the last class. Read that. The size of the char type has been increased to 2 bytes for giving support to Unicode characters, that is characters of language other than English. How much space English language characters consume? 1 byte. What do you call them? ASCII. How much space other language characters will consume? 5 bytes. What do you call them? Unicode. Unicode value, not ASCII value. What is that? Unicode value. Okay now? Read this. We are aware that every English language character has a numeric value representation known as ASCII. Characters of languages other than English also will have that numeric value representation, and we call it as Unicode. We call that as Unicode. Okay, look this. Remember last class I said you, it will pick the ASCII value, converts into, and here it will pick the Unicode value, converts into binary. In the first case, ASCII value is picked. Second case, Unicode value is picked. Are you clearer or not? Okay, next. Just like ASCII values converts into binary for storing by a computer, Unicode values also converts into binary. But the difference is ASCII requires 1 byte of memory for storing its value, whereas Unicode requires 2 bytes of memory for storing the value. That is the difference. ASCII is 1 byte only, 0 to 255, but Unicode starts from 256 onwards. Okay, next. These 2 points also said you in the last class. Check it out. String is a variable length type. That is, it doesn't have any fixed size, and its size varies based on the value that is assigned to it. Yes, guys, based on the value assigned, the value will change for you. Next, object is a parent of all the types, so capable of storing any type of value in it, and moreover, it is also a variable length type. That's also going to be a variable length type basically. Object is a variable length type. String and object are variable length types. Clear up? One thumb rule, remember. What you know? Fixed length types are predefined structures. Next point. Variable length types are predefined classes. Don't forget this one. Are you clear? Fixed length types are structures. Variable length types are classes. Okay. Shabam, what is your question here? So both will simultaneously. You said that's all. You skip to the remaining. What are you trying to ask? ASCII, Unicode, both are supported. ASCII, Unicode, both are supported. Okay, both are supported. ASCII is also supported. Unicode is also supported. But old C language and C++ supports only ASCII. Java, Python, and .NET supports Unicode. Both ASCII and Unicode also. So when I say Unicode, ASCII is automatic. When I say ASCII, Unicode won't come. Are you clearer or not? When I say you done PG, that means that you completed your graduation here. Without doing graduation, you cannot do a PG now. Yes or not? But when I say you done graduation, it's not like you done a PG now. Are you clear? So if I say ASCII, means Unicode is not guaranteed. But if I say Unicode, ASCII is guaranteed. Clear? Okay, guys, this is all about the data types what we have. And today I'll explain you about how to declare variables and how to consume them in our code. Okay, so I'll explain you the syntax to declare variables and fields in declare variables and fields. So all of you concentrate on that. Syntax to declare variables and fields. The first thing you require to get a clarity here. What is a variable? What is a field? In C language, we learned about variables, remember now? Variables, when you learned about variables, we know about this classification. What's it? Global variables and local variables. What are global variables? Global variables means the scope of that variable will be the scope of the variable will be throughout the program. But local variable means the scope of it is going to be only in a block of code. You declare a variable inside a function. You can consume it inside the function only. You declare a variable globally. You can consume it throughout the class. Are you clear? What do you call global and local? But when you come to C#, guys, we don't have anything called global and local. We call them as variables and fields. What is a variable? Variable refers to local in scope, and a field refers to global in scope. Did you understand all of you? Variable refers to local in scope, and field refers to global in scope. Local scope, global scope. Are you clearer or not? Understood my point? So this is what the difference between a variable and a field actually. Local scope and global scope. Okay. Now, if you just understand this one, suppose all of you look at this. I defined a class like this, class test. I'm declaring int x is equals to 100. Tell me, this is global or local? Global, not local. Static void main, and here I am writing int y is equals to 200. This is local. You cannot access this y out of the method now. But what about this x? You can use this x throughout the class. Accessible throughout the class. But what the scope of y? Inside the method. So this is a I hope you got my point. I'll tell you one more thing. Watch it. Tomorrow, if I write public here, it is accessible out of the class also. Are you getting my point or not? That is what global means. Do you catch my point? But this one, you're in a public or you do anything there that is accessible only inside of the block, not accessible out of the block. But this is accessible from anywhere in the code, accessible from anywhere in the code. If it is public, out of the class also. If not public, within the class. If it is public, out of the class. All of you are clear? Okay, so that's what exactly field is. I hope you guys got the reference between a variable and a field now. So from now onwards, we don't use the word called global variables and local variables anywhere. What we say is variable, field. If I say field, remember that is global. If I say variable, remember that is local. Okay, now? So I'll start from the syntax to declare them. How to declare them? Look at this, guys, all of you. Concentrate on this. Modifiers, constant, read only, type, name, is equals to default n. Look at the statement here. There are so many optional things there. Modifiers optional, constant optional, read only optional, default optional, n optional. What is mandatory? Type, name are mandatory. So what is the type or the data type here? Data type and name are mandatory. See here? Int x. That's all. Where int is the type and x is the name now. Clear? Int is the type and x is the name. What are the optional things, sir? I'll tell you. But first, are you clear with this? Int is the type. X is the name now. Okay? Now, guys, at the time of declaration, I'm writing int y is equals to 10. Are you clear? What is that? Is equals to default. I can give a default value like this now. I hope you guys understood my point. Understood? That's what. Now, clever doubt here. So, what is the value of y is 10? What about the value of x? What is the value of x? Did you catch my point? Value of y is very clear. What is the value of y? 10. And now the question is, sir, what is the value of x? There is confusion now. What is the value of x? Okay, now? Let me clarify that, guys. See. Fields will have a default value if not initialized at the time of their declaration. Did you understand me? Fields will have a default value if not initialized at the time of their declaration. So this x here, if it is a field, it has a default value. It has a default value. What is the default value? Now look, guys, the fourth column of your table. Check now. What did I list it? Default value. All integer types, default value 0. Decimal types, default value 0. Boolean, date, 01, 01, 0001, 000000 is the default value. 0 day, 32 zeros, all 32 zeros. Character, /0. String, object, these are the default values, guys. Now, can you understand? If x is a field, what is the default value? 0 is the default value. Simply are all numeric types 0. Boolean false. Date 01, 01, 00, 01, all zeros. GUID all 32 zeros only. Character /0. String and object null. Understood all of you? Then what about the variables, sir? Variables will not have any default value. So it is a must to initialize them at the time of declaration or before consumption. Is it clear? What I mean to tell is, just look at this. What is X, guys? Field or variable? Field. So initializing this is not mandatory, that is optional. 0 is the value. What is my variable? Right? If I don't initialize this, I get error. Is an error. This is an error. You must initialize it for sure at the time of declaration or just before consumption. But X has a default value, Y doesn't have any default value. I practically show you also, holding for a minute. Understood everything? Yes or not? Okay, that is about the default values, whatever. I'll practically show you also. I hope you are clear with this up to there. Okay now? What next, guys? Yeah, you know that here. What is it? String S1, comma, S2, comma, S3, comma, S4, comma, S5. Array, n number yaar. N number of values I can declare, n number of things I can just declare. Are you clear? Okay. So understood these 4 things? Type name, variable name, default, optional, and n. Like this. What next? Modifiers. Modifiers. The default scope for the members of a class is private. The default scope for the members of the class is private. Private means accessible only in that class. Accessible only in that class. Okay? But we can change it. We can change it with the help of modifiers. We can change it with the help of modifiers. Okay? We can change it by help of modifiers by using public. We have an option called public, internal, protected, etc. Don't bother about what is the scopes of them. First, I am trying to tell you only what is meant by modifier. And scopes of all the things I'll tell you in object-oriented programming in detail for you. So now, you understood? This is private or public? Private, accessible only within the class. Already I said you this point, remember? If I say public here, I can access out of the class also. I said you already that only. If I don't say private, only in the class it is accessible, not out of the class. Are you clear? You can read it one more time. Okay. So it will be the default scope for all the members of a class is private. All the members of a class is private. But we can change it with the help of modifiers by using public, internal, protected, etc. And what next? You learned about constants in your C language also now. What's a constant? A constant means these values cannot be modified. Constant means these values cannot be modified after their declaration. Constant means these values cannot be modified after their declaration. Okay? And to and to declare them, we use the CNSD keyword. Clearer, and it is mandatory to initialize constants at the time of declaration only. For example, all of you watch it. The best example for constant, what we learned in the C language, pi value. Pi is a constant. How do you declare? Constant out pi is equals to 3.14. It's a constant. Can I modify the value? That value cannot be modified. And don't forget, guys, the last point. Mandatory to initialize a constant at the time of declaration. What is the meaning? This is invalid. Do you understand, all of you? Declaration time, you should initialize it. Mandatory, yes, it is. Why? After declaration, you can't modify the value again. Once the declaration is completed, you cannot modify the value. When you cannot modify the value, then how will you initialize it now? So that's why it will tell you to initialize. Declaration time only, that should be initialized. That's what constant. These constants are the same as the constants what we learned in our C language also. What next? Read only. Okay? Listen, all of you. Like constants, read only also cannot be modified. Like constant, read only also cannot be modified. Now we have a doubt. What is the doubt? Then what is the need of read only against the, we have already constants now? Then what do we need of read only? Then will be a doubt. Okay? Like constant, read only also cannot be modified. But after initialization. But after initialization. What is this? But after initialization, what is the meaning of, watch it, all of you. Read only float pi is a valid statement. Did you see the difference? Constant float pi is invalid, but read only float pi is a valid statement. Means declaration time initializing is not mandatory here. Declaration time initializing is not mandatory. First you declare now, later on you can initialize it. P is equals to 3.14. Okay, now we have initialized. This also means, just a minute. Both are valid, guys. I hope you understood the difference between the two. I'll tell you a simple way. Constant is like a train ticket here. Read only is like a bus ticket. What is the difference between a train ticket and a bus ticket? Tell me. You cannot enter into the train without taking a ticket. Am I correct? Yes or not? You need to take a ticket and then only enter into the ticket. Now tell me, once the ticket is issued, can you change it? You went to a station now, purchased a ticket. After purchasing a ticket, you decided that you want to get down in the previous station, or you decided you want to go to the next station. Can you go and ask him, change my ticket? No chance. Once issued, cannot be changed. The only option is cancel the ticket and if issue a fresh new ticket. Correct or not? Cancel the ticket and issue a fresh new ticket. So that's what means. Before you come into the train, ticket should be purchased. Constant is also like that only. But you're declaring only will tell you assign a value. And that cannot be modified again. Read only is like a bus ticket. What is that? When you understand about a bus, to get into a bus, I don't require a ticket here. I can enter in the bus and also take a ticket. Yes or not? I can enter into the bus and also take a ticket. Now I entered in the bus and purchased a ticket. I entered into the bus and then I purchased a ticket. And here also one thing is same. What do you know? Once the ticket is purchased, cannot be modified again. Even in bus also, once the ticket issued, cannot be modified. Correct or not? What is that? First one is telling take the ticket and come inside, cannot be modified. Second one is telling come inside and take the ticket, now also cannot be modified. So read only is like a first ticket. First declare, afterwards initialize. Cannot be modified. In both cases, one thing is common. What is common? Cannot be modified. You can't modify the things. Are you clearer? Understood the difference between constant and read only? All of you? That is what a constant and read only are. Okay now? Basically means to be clear, just all of you, watch it. If I want a constant, how should I do? Constant float I is equals to 3.14. What is this? Declaration and initialization. Okay. Now, if you want read only, what's it? Read only float I. What are you doing? Declaration. I is equals to I hope you guys are clear. That is declaration and that is initialization. This is how you can perform the things now. I hope you guys are clear. Okay now? Fine. Now look at this carefully. Sorry. I want to tell you one small important point here. What it is. All decimal values are by default treated as double. All decimal values are by default treated as double. All of you, concentrate on my points. Decimal values are by default treated as double. So because decimal values are by default treated as a double, here I get an error. At that place I get an error. Why you get an error? 3.14 is a decimal now, treated as a double. I is which type? Float. I is which type? So when you are trying to assign, it will throw an error. What error? A decimal value cannot be implicitly, a double value cannot be implicitly converted into float value. Double value cannot be converted into float value. Will throw an error. To resolve this error, so to overcome the problem, we need to suffix the character F to treat the value as float and character M to treat the value as decimal. What do you mean to say, sir? Watch it all of you. Float F is equals to 3.14 is invalid. Okay. Double D is equals to 3.14 is valid. Decimal D is equals to 3.14 is invalid. Then how to declare them, sir? This is how you should declare F, M. Are you guys clearer? So if your value is a float, don't forget to suffix it with the character F. If your value is a decimal, don't forget to suffix with the character M. If you did not suffix anything, that is a double. Understood all of you? So these are the important things what you just require to remember. I'll practically show all these things to you in detail. F should be there. Can we change the value of at the time of initialization of in read only? See, this is not initialization, this is declaration. This is declaration. You declared it with a value. In initialization, you can change the value if you want. Yes, in the initialization, you can change. But once after initialization is completed, you cannot change the value again. At the time of initialization, you can change the value, but once after initialization is completed, you cannot change that value again. I will show all these things practically. I explained it theoretically. I'll show all these things practically. Watch it, all of you. Just concentrate on this. Again, what's your drive? How to go to the tree drive? B. Colon. What's the folder? C sharp. 10. How to go to there? A. C sharp. Sorry. 10. Error here. F is equals to 3.14 is error. Wait, I'll show you. I said you now. Wait, hold on. I'm showing you all the things to you. Watch. Yeah, look. I'm writing a program here. I name it as typesdemo.cs. Concentrate on all of you. Typesdemo.cs. First what? Using system. Class. Types demo. The static void main. Okay, now static void main. I just written a simple program here. Types demo. And now I'm going to declare int x. Variable field. It's a field. Int y. Variable field. It's a variable. It is a variable. Okay. Now, guys, if I try to just print the y value, console dot write line y, console dot write line y. I want to print the x value also. I want to print the x value also. If you want to print the x value, all of you carefully listen. Is an important point for all of you. If you want to print the x value, you can print it. You can print the x value. Okay, you can print that particular x value, but carefully listen to me. X is declared inside the main or within the class? Within the class. Members of the class, means it is a member of the class now. Is it? And member of the classes can be accessed only by using object of the class. Member of the class can be accessed only by using, and we didn't know about objects and all. I said, I promised you I'll teach you about all these things in object-oriented programming. For the time being, to avoid object creation, I'll write static. And remember, static methods can be called directly by prefixing the class name. Are you clear? So now objects, nothing is required. Directly what I can say? Console dot write line. What is the class name? Types demo dot will print you the value. If it is not static, it will ask you to create object and call. And I promised you, I'll talk about all these things in object-oriented programming. Let's not. But one thing we clearly discussed: static doesn't require object; it can be directly called. That's all I'm doing. Okay, that static is declared there so that I can directly call it without a object. So nothing more than that. Now you see, I'm trying to print the x value here, and I'm trying to print the y value here. Okay. Now, guys, at the time of compilation, you get an error on this line. You get an error at this line. What error? Already clarified you. What is that? Variables must be initialized at the time of their declaration or before consumption. Error comes. Watch. Compile it. There is one error and there is one. Errors will not compile the code. The warnings will compile the code. Errors will not compile the code, but warnings will compile the code. Okay, what is the error? First, read the error message. Use of Unassigned local variable. Understood? Variable y. Next warning. Field x. What is that? Field x is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. That's a warning, guys. You did not assign a value, so I'll take the value as 0. Clear? I said you that only. Everything I'll practically show you. Wait, I'll show you. I explained you theoretically. I'll show you practically. That's what I'm telling you. Okay? Is it clear, everyone? So now declaring a field is mandatory or optional? Field here, optional. Variable mandatory. Field is optional. Variable is mandatory. Okay? So guys, have a look. Even I don't initialize, I don't have a problem. But this must be initialized. Okay? So just right now, we got one error and one warning. Am I correct? Program is not compiled. If you want, watch it. dir typesdemo.star. See, the program is not compiled. That's why you don't have typesdemo.exe there, see. Typesdemo.exe is not present. Why are you typesdemo.sys? Program is not compiled. Why? Errors will not allow the program to compile. Clear? Now I fixed the error, guys. I fixed the error. Screen again. Come here. Recompile the code. Watch it, all of you. The code is now no error. What do you want? Warning. Array. Warnings will compile the code. Warnings will execute the code also. Warning is not an obstacle. If you get a warning, don't think like your program is not going to be compiled. Your program is compiled if you want to verify. Compiled or not? .exe generated. See, earlier I showed you .exe not generated, but now .exe generated. Will it execute? Yes, it will. Types demo. X has the default value 0 and Y you have given the value as 1. Okay? Just a minute. Value of X is plus here. Value of Y is. Okay now? Value of X is 0 and the value of Y is 1. Next. One more thing I'll show you. Just to watch this. X is which type? X is which type? Integer, na? Type of X is, we have a method called as get type. A simple English here, get type. You're asking to get the type of X now. Okay now? Same way, here also I'm writing type of Y is Y dot get type. So X and Y are which type here? Integer types, right? CSC types demo.cs. I'm clearing the screen and I'm now printing the output. This is what I already explained. You see, it is not telling int, it is telling system.int32. Is it clear? Morning, that only explained you. All C# types after compilation will convert into IL format. For you to declare int is easier, system.int32 is easier. So you simply use int, but it will write it as, if you want, you can declare like this also, system.int32 x is equals to something you can write. But by lengthy coding, simply you say int, that will convert or translate into the exact format. Okay? Now, next thing, watch this also. Float f is equals to 3.14. Next, console.write line value of f is type of f is. Okay, watch it all of you. I already said you. What's it? That is error. Read it. Literal of type double cannot be explicitly converted to type float. Cannot be converted now. Use an F suffix to create a letter of this type. Very clearly telling you F should be used as a suffix now. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay now? So I need to use F here. I need to use the F here and recompile. Okay. To skip that warning also without confusion, to skip that warning also, I am telling something. Or I'll say some value, 0. Okay, no issues now. Otherwise, you'll say 2 here, I'll say 1 here. Alright, to skip the warning there, that's all. All the problem for us now, just to skip the warning. So it will be very clear for you. Yeah, no errors anywhere. Okay, now. Now I got it, see? File name is system.single. Now come back again. You see, I'll copy the same thing again. I will paste it. Now I'll change the type as double D is equals to. I'm not using F there. Value of D is, type of D is. Now see, that will be by default double only. Will I get any error? No error anywhere. You will not have any error anywhere. Compile the code and watch the output. No errors. Printed you and say double. Same way now, make a decimal. Decimal E is equals to. Again, error. Clearly telling you, use a M sub. That's what I said in the last class. Read the error messages here. Your answer will be there only. What is the problem? How to resolve everything? It is clearly telling you. It's said you the solution also. Use M suffix. That's all. So come back and use a M suffix. Decimal. Okay. Now tell me, guys, where you have doubts. Tell me now. Whatever I explained you, I showed all the things practically to you. Is it clear? Yeah. Some of you people are asking some questions. Yeah, tell me now, what's your questions now? Tell me if you have any doubts now. Declare whatever you want here. String str is equals to hello world. Value of str is str. Type of str is str.getType. Semicolon missing. Yeah, semicolon missing there. Check. That's his thing. Any more questions from anyone? All of you understood? Everyone? Clear? Okay, so just remember the terminology first. Variables, fields. Fields means global in scope. Variable means local in scope. Okay, variables must be initialized. Variables must be initialized. Okay, we'll talk about read-only and constants in object-oriented programming. The primary difference between read-only and constant, I'll show you in object-oriented programming. With object-oriented programming, I'll tell you. But just my point is only about declarations, that's all. Okay. Size here 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 16 bytes. You just go and purchase a trouser. When you purchase a trouser, how do you purchase? Based on your size, na? Same way only, based on the value, you need to go for quota, decimal, double. That depends upon the value. If it is a smaller value, see when to use integer. I can use integer only when the size of the value is 2 power 31 minus 1. Beyond 2 power 31 minus 1, I cannot use an integer. I need to go for a long. Same way here also. 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 16 bytes. Okay, that's only based on the size and requirement we choose it. Which type do we use generally in your program? This question is foolish. Which type we generally use in program? We usually one type, huh? Then are we forced to give you 17 types to you? Depending upon the value we use. Suppose you are just going to refer to a student. You are defining a student. Student has an ID. ID is which type? ID is integer, name, string, marks, float. Marks is integer, marks is float. Is float only. Is also float only. Are you clear? Okay, section. It's 23 character. Section is character A or B or C or something. Clear? Depending upon that. Date of birth. Date time here. Date of birth by Boolean. Date time. I want to show you date of birth. Date time. Understood? Like that we'll decide. If we don't put static, only object need to be declared. Yes. Yes, Nikhil. If it is not static, we need to create an object, not declare an object. We need to create an object. But still, we did not jump into the discussion about creating the objects. That's why I skipped that one. We'll talk about it later. Okay? Object creations and all, I'll talk about it in object-oriented programming. Just here only, I put there static so that I can directly access it here. If I remove static here, guys, if I remove static here, watch it all of you. If I remove static here, I get a compile time error. What's it telling you? Is it a non-static field or method or property? It's not a method or property, it's a field. It is a field. Clearly telling you an object reference is required for the non-static field. Don't read the remaining. Non-static object is required. So that is why I declared it as static. So that object is not required. Okay. We will learn about object creations and object-oriented programming. Don't confuse with that right now. Okay. So this is all about data types and how do we declare the data types in your code. Is every point clear? Yes or not? See guys, I given the syntax here. In the notes for you, I given the syntax, modifiers, constant, read only, type, name, default value, n. Given the syntax, and first I explained what is a field and what is a variable. Fields are global in scope and variables are local in scope. Okay, and then I just said type refers to, read it, type refers to the data type of the field or a variable we want to declare, and it can be any of the 17 types we discussed about. 17 data types is any of the 17 it can be. Next, name refers to the name of the field or variable and it should be unique within the location. For example, int I, float f, will be all these are the declarations. Next, fields and variables can be initialized with any value at the time of their declaration, at the time of the declaration. And if they are not initialized, and every field has a default value, which is 0 for all numeric types, a false for Boolean type, /0 for character type, 32 zeros for 0 ID. 01010001 for date time and another for string object. Write the note. Variables doesn't have any default value, so it is must to initialize them while declaration or before consumption. At the time of declaration or before consumption, they must be initialized. Okay, now next. Next, modifiers are generally used to define the scope of a field, that is, from where it can be accessed. From where it can be accessed. And the default scope for every member of a class in our language is private here. Don't forget, it is private, which can either be changed to public or internal or protected. What are the different scopes? I'll tell you guys in object-oriented programming only again. Next, constant. Constant is a keyword. Constant is going to be a keyword actually. Okay. So constant is a keyword to declare a constant, and those constant values cannot be modified once after their declaration. Once after the declaration, modifications cannot be done. How to declare? See, constant float pi is equals to 3.14f, and that is declaration and initialization. Next thing is read only. Next thing is going to be read only actually. Read only. Read only. Read only is a keyword to declare a field as read only, and these read only field values also cannot be modified but after initialization. You can understand. The first one is declaration, second one is initialization. Next point. Decimal values are by default treated as double by the compiler. So if we want to use them as float, the value should be suffixed with character F and M to use them as decimal. All the three declarations I have seen. Float pi is equals to 3.14f. Double pi is equals to 3.14. Decimal pi is equals to 3.14 M. Okay, and finally here I given you the code what I explained to you right now. Now this is a program. I declared it static, and then I'm just trying to print the X value and a type. What is the get type? Get type is a predefined method, guys. Get type is a predefined method. And what this method will do? Read this. Which returns the type. In which format? CL format, or the variable or field or instance on which it is called. You can call it on a variable, you can call it on a field, you can call it on instance. Right now we did not learn about instances. When we learn instances, there also we can call. And what it returns here? The type. The actual type name it is going to return you when I call that. Is it clear all of you? So this is all about the get type method and how do we use the get type method in your code. Okay now? So this is about the data types and variables. I hope people are comfortable with this. Yes or not? Okay. You guys, I also want to ask you one. Are you added in the Google Classroom? If you are not added, if anyone you completed your payments and not added in the Google Classroom, contact the admin. He will add you immediately. He'll add you immediately from where you can download the notes and everything will be available. The videos, everything there. And also the WhatsApp group. Also the WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group link is in the Google Classroom. Shubham, go to the Google Classroom. There you got the WhatsApp group link. In the Google Classroom, why everything separately without everything? I put you a single point of communication or sharing all the things. Everything will be present in Google Classroom. Is that clear? If you have access to Google Classroom, WhatsApp link will be there, videos will be there, everything will be there. And all of you just join the WhatsApp group. All of you just join the WhatsApp group. Because any sudden information should be posted to you or anything, I'll use the WhatsApp group. Mostly all that happen. Suddenly, if I'm not able to take a class, I'm absent, I'm not able to take the class also. I can post you the message so that you will not be coming back again here all the way. Are you clear? So for that particular reason only. So everyone be in the WhatsApp group. When I download Visual Studio, why my D drive disappear? D drive disappeared. I don't know, yaar. What did you do? Why will it disappear? Do you have D drive first? Just check it out. Do you have T drive or not? Why will it disappear here? You don't disappear. You've done something wrong. Just recheck it out. Why is it not? Google it. I don't have my mobile phone here to share the WhatsApp link. I don't have my mobile phone. I just morning I forgot it in my car. I did not get it from the morning. I don't have a mobile phone now. That's why I said you go to Google Classroom. There you will have. You can join from there. Okay. So all of you join from there from the Google Classroom. Okay, guys, you just get joined in that and just practice today's things also. So tomorrow I'll teach you about. We learned about data types. Not tomorrow. I'll talk more about these data types only. About the data types only, we'll talk tomorrow also. Okay, let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye, guys. Have a nice day. We'll meet tomorrow.
Recording stopped.